Hey, this is Ramon, channel Alpha 4, and this is my Bible study, and we are doing chapters 13 and 14 because chapter 13 is just way too short. So, chapter 13, Abraham and Lot go their separate ways. Abraham is doing well. Abraham waits for God. Abram has a vision of the future. This dark vision is hinting at Moses, the dark vision of the hard times that his descendants will go through. And they get dispersed, they suffer persecution, and things just don't go well. You can look at the broader history of the Hebrewic or Jewish people and say, yeah, they're going to have a hard time. It's actually very interesting how accurate that ends up being. All right, then, chapter 14. The battle of the 4 kings against the 5, and the rescue of Lot by Abraham and his allies. Just to be clear, there is nothing in this chapter, event-wise, that can be identified through non-biblical sources. So while there are certain locations that can be identified, all the events in this particular chapter don't seem to have any real life sources. But considering it's taking place near Kadesh, there's a chance that it relates to the Battle of Kadesh, but it's doubtful. What are the places that really exist? Well, you got Canaan, Babylon, Tidal, Elam, and that's important because Shinar is Babylon, Tidal is the Hittite kingdom. So you get Elam is Jerusalem. So you get real places being referenced here. So that's important. This is the first time that we get Jerusalem, which is Elam, mentioned. And this is also the first time that we use the word Hebrew. In the English translation, this is the first time that word shows up in the Bible. It's also interesting that the way the story is written is very similar in function and format to the way that the royal annals of Babylon and Assyria are written. The terminology in this chapter is also very interesting and striking because it is the same kind of terminology that you see in Egyptian and in Akkadian tablets. So you're getting language and story structure from an outside source, seemingly. Yet there is no outside source for this chapter. So this chapter doesn't really fit in with the rest of Genesis. So it's a very interesting thing. It makes you wonder if a later scribe added this in, or if there's a source material for this chapter that we just don't know about. Anything's possible. We also get the introduction of Melchizedek. And Melchizedek is very important for several reasons. He's a mystery figure, and he's a typology for the early Christians of priesthood. And some can interpret Melchizedek as a prefiguration of Christ. So for some people, they think that this is Christ in the mystical sense, traveling back through time or existing before he existed and showing up as the priest of Jerusalem who is not of the priestly line. On the other hand, this is, for modern day priest, the place where we get the idea of a priesthood outside of the priestly line, meaning the family of priest. Then this is where you get the idea of the king of Jerusalem also being a priest. So this is where you get King David. So the idea of King David, you're going to have to look back to Melchizedek. So Melchizedek is very important for a lot of reasons. Another reason why this works is because you get the first instance of teething. And here, Abraham teeths his 10% to the priestly king of Elam. Okay, so that's very important. Then you have kind of a reversal of teething, which is where the other kings who were involved in this battle want to reward Abraham for his good deed of saving Lot and helping out with the battle and bringing in his, I guess you'd call them mercenaries. So they want to give him a reward, and he rejects it. He says, look, pay my men, pay them food, pay them what they're owed, don't pay me anything. So that way, no one can say that my victory came from anyone but God. So my victory comes from God, not from man. So anyway, Lot is saved. Everything's going good. Peace.